Eh-eh.
Hands up, down, up, down. Everybody now, put one hand in the air. One hand in the air. And
Right, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for following the leader. So, good morning, Kid Cadets. Thanks for joining me today. That is one of my favorite songs out of many. I love it. The moving around, the actions, the jumping, and just the following of the instructions of the song. It kind of reminds me of the story that I'm about to share with you. The story of Ruth. Now bear with me while I explain. First, I will tell you the story, so if you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. There once was a woman named Naomi who lived in Bethlehem with her husband. Now Naomi and her husband had to leave Bethlehem as there was a famine, so they headed out with their 2 sons to Moab, where there was food and everything they needed. The only thing is that the land of Moab was known to worship lots of other gods and had idols. And for an Israelite who worshipped one God, that would have been difficult. Now, whilst in Moab, Naomi and her husband raised their 2 sons, who then went on to marry Moabite women, Oprah and Ruth. Unfortunately, whilst in Moab, Naomi's husband died, leaving Naomi to be cared for by her sons and their wives. A few years later, both Naomi's sons died, leaving Naomi, Oprah, and Ruth. Now, back then, it was their husband's responsibility to take care of their wife and their children. So to be left to be a widow meant that the wives were vulnerable. Naomi didn't know what to do and thought that it would be better for her to leave Moab and return back to Bethlehem, as she had family there and the famine was now over. Naomi told her daughter-in-laws of her plan, and they decided to leave and head to Bethlehem. However, as they started their journey, Naomi changed her mind and decided that the best thing to do was to head out on her own, and said to her daughter-in-laws to stay, remarry, and raise families of their own in Moab. Now, Oprah, I think that's how you say it, decided that she would that she decided that it was a good idea to head back to Moab. But Ruth said that she would go with Naomi, stating, "Where you go, I will go, and your God will be my God." Ruth was willing to follow Naomi wherever she was going to go, to give up her life, to give up the life that she knew and her family. A part of me thinks that she did that because Naomi was good to her, but also because she wanted to serve Naomi, and because Naomi was getting old, she didn't think that she would make it to Bethlehem on her own. The story goes on, and we find that Naomi and Ruth make it to Bethlehem. And to cut a long story short, Ruth ends up remarrying one of Naomi's distant relatives, but the only way that came about was because Ruth followed clear instructions that Naomi had given her. From that story, I figured out a few themes: obedience, faithfulness, trust, and courage. Faithfulness, because Ruth wanted to care for Naomi and to serve her. She knew that Naomi was getting older, but she still wanted to serve and look after her. Trust, because Ruth trusted in Naomi. She knew that she had the best interest at heart for her and that it was important for her to be with her. But not only that, she had witnessed Naomi serving and trusting her God, and that would bring them into safety, and he did. Courage, because both Naomi and Ruth had to leave their places that they loved and they grew up in, and to go to another land where they knew no one. And obedience, because later on in the story we hear that Ruth had to obey everything that Naomi had instructed her to do. Naomi became Ruth's leader, just like Jesus is our leader. You see, we are called to be obedient, faithful, trusting, and courageous. In doing these things that Jesus has asked us to do, and leave the things, or sometimes even people, behind, which sometimes seem to be hard, especially when we don't want to do it. Which leads me to my activity. For those online and for those in the building. Now, there are some people that are here that have travelled from different lands and different countries, and they've made it into the UK. And because of that, what I'd like you to do is to ask one of those people, whether it be your grandparent, your parents even, or your great-grandparent, or maybe even a family friend. Ask them what it was like for them to travel from that country and to settle here in the UK. I'd also like you to ask them, were they scared in leaving? And would they even return back? And when you've done that, I'd like you to write a brief story and get your parents to post it on the LNC group page so that we can then read through all the stories that was going on for those people and what they experienced. Now, I know here in the LNC headquarters, there are a few people here that have travelled from different countries into the UK, so you can even ask them if you're here. Anyway, that's enough from me. Agent N, signing out. DJ, run the track.
The room is on.